Okay, welcome replay viewers, and good morning everybody. Welcome to this beautiful morning here on Eastern Long Island on Tuesday, May 11th. Let's go down and take a look at the purple martins, who were all here, several dozen, except that we just had an incident while I was setting up the iPhone for this live broadcast. And the incident was that a marsh hawk flew by the nest sites, and the flock now has dispersed because they were attempting to drive off this hawk before it grabbed one of the martins. So let's hope that they come back to the housing while we're here. I'm using the Streamlabs app today, streaming to YouTube Live. We'll see how this works as opposed to I normally use Prism Live Studio app. The iPhone 10 Plus is in my gimbal, 3-axis gimbal, so we should have a fairly stable video here. Well, I wanted to show everybody all the amount of birds that we now have on site, and wouldn't you know it, we have this business where the hawk intruded in the area and the birds have gone airborne to chase him out of the area. I hear a few chirping noises and a few birds I see flying out over the water. Now let's just try our luck. What a shame. You would have seen quite a bit of bird activity, purple martin activity down here at the houses. Had I been down here 5 minutes earlier, one of two things could have taken place. One is that the hawk would never have flown this close because I was standing here. Or two, if it did fly in, then we may have well captured the flight of the martins chasing the hawk away from the nesting area here. Anyway, here are our two martin complexes, total of 28 cavities, most of which are filled up right now, even though the second year birds are not in the area yet. They should be arriving within the next week or two. And by second year birds, I mean birds that were born last summer in the general area here. All right, here come a few martins back to the cavities. Let's see where the rest of the flock is, circling around, feeding. When they're flying like this, they are feeding. They are aerial insectivores. Okay, I see a dozen or so flying over the water right now, and they seem to be circling back to the houses. That's because they see me standing here, and believe this or not, but it is true. The martins look to human presence for protection. Some ornithologists say that purple martins are actually semi-domesticated birds. Now that may be a little bit of a stretch, but they certainly act that way. They will not nest if there is not a human presence nearby. So they exclusively nest now in man-made, man-provided, human-provided housing here on the eastern part of the country. There's very little, if any, natural cavities left for them to go to. And they've adapted to housing supplied by humans over the last 300, 400 years since Europeans have been here in this continent. And I might point out that the European settlers learned it from the Native Americans, who used to hollow out gourds, dried gourds, and hang them on lines for the martins to nest in, because they discovered that the martins would drive off crows from corn stalks, corn bins, and things of that nature. So over the centuries, the birds have adapted to human-supplied housing here east of the Rockies. I've been hosting purple martin colonies for over 40 years now. I started over 40 years. And I have to tell you, the first couple of years were not very successful. It takes a while, several years, to attract your first nesting pairs. And then after that, it kind of goes exponentially. If they breed successfully in a nesting site here, then they'll return the following year to the same location. Healthy purple martins will survive 8 to 10 years. Anyway, that's a brief synopsis of purple martin history. And I apologize for not having more birds available to witness here. Come on back, birds, land on the housing. I don't know if I have a zoom feature with this Streamlabs app. No, not with the Osmo 4 gimbal. Only when you're using the Osmo app, I guess, with the camera, with the iPhone camera. Oh, and there goes a swan in low-level flight. That's the male. There's a female nesting nearby. We haven't really discovered where the nest is this spring. Hopefully in a few weeks we will see the swan family with cygnets swimming in the creek here. Hey birds, come back for me. All right, we'll try again tomorrow morning because the weather is supposed to be perfect all this week. High 60s to 70 out here on eastern Long Island. Perfect weather for the birds, who will now start to seriously get into the nesting season. Start to lay eggs and raise the young ones for this season. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining this broadcast this morning. I have to work with my gimbal a little more. It will tilt up at the housing. Let me just give it a few more minutes. I hope I'm capturing them flying around the houses right now. Unfortunately, that's part of nature. The hawks fly through and try to grab off smaller birds. This was a marsh hawk this morning. And you have the sparrow hawks or kestrels in the area here. I've lost a couple of martins already this season to hawk predators. All right, let me say goodbye to everybody now, and we'll try again later this afternoon, evening, or tomorrow morning. All right, take care, everybody.